And so, Megadeth have announced their retirement. The next album, the 17th one, which is due next year, is gonna be the last one. At least that's what they say. We should have seen it coming. It was a long time coming, but one album after another, they've proved, and they've proved they still got something, but the something, they are running out of that. So anyway, hi friends, it's Andriy Vasilenko, and today I'm gonna talk about why Megadeth's retirement, or at least the announcement, is a good thing. And there's three reasons why we should be glad. Megadeth are hyper productive. Mustaine, he's been through a lot of health issues and everything, but every time he found the inner power, the inner reserve to keep going. He found new guys. In part, that was the reason why Megadeth has been so going. The new guys, the new blood. Megadeth is no stranger to allowing new people in and old out, so to speak. But this time it actually proved the very productive decision, way, philosophy by Mustaine to just spark new energy by new people and then kick them the fuck out. But this lineup, the current lineup, is gonna be maybe the last one, the final rotation of the mega band. Why? Why they're retiring? Why giving up on Thrash? They've been carrying the torch off. Actually, yeah, let's be honest. The last album, at least the last album of Megadeth, is better than the latest album of Metallica. At least some fresh ideas were prominent, and we know why is that, because fresh people were in. Fresh in both the music view and physique. Actually, the age, the the muscles, they play a big role in keeping the drive. And Metallica, they are the Four Horsemen. They've been staying for that as long as they can, and they say if they lose one member at this point, that's gotta be it. Not the case with Megadeth, except unless it's Dave Mustaine they lose. And it seems like that's the case. He does his best, but time does not play in his favor. They dumped to it a whole step down. Not like first half step, like Metallica, a whole step down. That's a sign they had to adjust to just give another 5 years of runtime, of headbanging time. No, headbanging is out of it. He does not have the ability of do that anymore, at least in that amount. The surgeries and everything. He'd been through cancer, through fucking neck, through whatever he had with his hand or arm back in the early 2000s, that he had to relearn guitar from scratch. Give Mustaine credit for all that. 17 albums. But, one of the reasons, Megadeth stayed for so longer that they would have, otherwise, maybe they would have given up earlier than everyone, is the new blood. Especially, I have to give credit to Kiko Loureiro for the couple albums before, but everyone who's been in it. But anyway, let's talk about the good stuff. Yeah, I said 3 good things about Megadeth announcing their retirement. First thing is just an announcement. Announcing the retirement leaves you a huge room for an epic fucking comeback, later on. Maybe some 10 years later down the road, Mustaine figures out, well, I've got something in still. My hands can do some riffs still, and I can something in the mic. It's gonna be a huge hype. We're gonna be excited, maybe disappointed, because he's not gonna get any younger by that time. But anyway, the second good thing, they're retiring on their terms, as they must have said in the announcement, in the statement. They're gonna go on their terms before any illness or whatever. The vocals, the playing of Mustaine has been deteriorating with every tour. Considering all the past or the last decade since 13 album, we think that the clock is ticking, and maybe as a kind of precaution, kind of backup measure, this album that was gonna happen anyway, they decide maybe inspired by the passion, inspired by the passion. You know what I mean? Ozzy, may he rest in peace. They figured, man, who knows? That's kind of the backup measure. And maybe if he 5, 10 years later figures out, yeah, I have still some power in me, we'll see. As a backup measure, that's one of the greatest way at this point, at this stage, this year, this number of albums, Mustaine can decide on. So yeah, the second thing, the good thing. The third thing, they've been pumping out records like, at this point, this is the best Megadeth can do, considering all the new blood and everything. The riffs are kicking, so not gonna complain about that. I feel like the promotion has been stagnating. Not many reasons to get more hype, you know, more occasions to be talked about. You know what I mean? The Metallica feud has been, you know, milk cow for Megadeth for as long as he was not in Metallica. But at this point, it's not gonna give as much as freaking announcement of retirement. That's a card you have a limited amount of times to take out. Usually one, but a lot of bands actually and all musicians have been retiring for since the late 90s. Why Megadeth should be different, yeah? But consider there's some bands that still are on the road making records. Rock bands like Rolling Stones. Consider this is different kind of music. Freaking thrash metal is not British invasion kind of music. So that's the different kind of physical toll. So thrash metal, I guess, has at least 15 years less mileage than regular rock, so to speak. So late 60s could be the time for most of them to think about it. Megadeth, think about it now. Slayer has thought about it. And maybe, yeah, Metallica, maybe will be considering that too soon. But about Metallica, I talked about it. After 72 seasons, maybe the next album would be the last one, because considering the gaps between their albums and, you know, no new blood and being kind of stagnant. But if it's a real last album of Megadeth, there should be some signs, some indications it's serious. And in my opinion, one good sign that's gonna be the fucking last one is a certain, you know, making amends with some old enemies in a really productive way. In some, you know, collaboration, so to speak. Guest appearances, feats. You know what I'm talking about. Get a freaking Metallica collaboration on the last album. Maybe James sings something, or Lars playing something, not really, but Kurt doing a little solo that would be so freaking epic and unbelievable. But at least some guest vocals by Hetfield. Dave Mustaine says all the time, he respects James a lot. So that's gonna be the most obvious choice for the collab, for the making amends on the last Megadeth album, possibly. There should be an opportunity not to be wasted. But I'm looking forward to it. Especially, you know which element? The freaking riffs. Cheers to everyone. Cheers to Mustaine and Megadeth. Be metal.